The PlayStation Q Lite officially has a name as well as details and a price. We've got info coming directly from a PlayStation blog as well as hands-on with CNET, and some of the details might be confusing. I'm going to try to clarify exactly what's being described and outline with how it works. There's confusion about where you can even use the device. The device is called the PlayStation Portal, and they debuted it on a PlayStation blog along with the CNET video. There's also a review written by CNET, and they will be doing a full review. Right now is just sort of an initial hands-on that they got to sample in an enclosed sort of display area where they let people come in and try it out. Now, I want to stress some of the misconceptions about this device. It's leading many people to dismiss this thing almost immediately. There's also some interesting statements made by CNET that don't necessarily line up with what PlayStation's saying in their blogs. You got to make sure and understand exactly what CNET is saying. I'm going to try to help with that as I dove a little bit deeper into what exactly is this thing doing, because we're hearing like no latency from CNET. They're playing Returnal and they're not having any latency. Well, there's seemingly two different ways you can use this device, and we have not yet seen how it will work in the one way. So let's just first take a look at the blog. You can see here PlayStation's first remote play dedicated device, PlayStation Portal Remote Player, to launch later this year at $199. So $200 for the device. And I will give some summary statements about what exactly CNET said about the screen and the joysticks, because I do think that is important. I'm going to kind of weave that into as we read this. So they're referring to the PlayStation Portal as a remote player that brings the PS5 experience to the palm of your hand. It includes the key features of the DualSense wireless controller, including adaptive triggers and haptic feedback. The vibrant 8-inch LCD screen is capable of 1080p resolution at 60 FPS, providing a high-definition visual experience that's expected from the high-quality games created by world-class developers. Now, CNET said that they wish they could have gotten an OLED. They're used to the OLED from the Nintendo Switch OLED. But they did say they had no issues with the screen. It looked good, it looked crisp, and it had good response time. It didn't have any issues with it. So they found the screen to be totally fine. I also think that screen is why the price can stay so low. This is basically the exact same price as a DualSense Edge controller. And so you're buying a controller with a screen in it that can play virtually anywhere as long as your PlayStation 5 is connected to the internet and in standby mode. So that's keeping the price down. We got to remember that. I know people are kind of bashing the screen. I get that, but they were probably trying to keep this down to that $199 price range because they want this to be viewed as more of an accessory, because there is a really good accessory adoption rate with PlayStation 5 owners. Now, they go on to say that PlayStation Portal is the perfect device for gamers in households where they might need to share their living room TV or simply want to play PS5 games in another room of the house. PlayStation Portal will connect remotely to your PS5 over Wi-Fi, so you'll be able to swiftly jump from playing on your PS5 to your PlayStation Portal. PlayStation Portal can play supported games that are installed on your PS5 console and use a DualSense controller. It also includes a 3.5mm audio jack for wired audio, PSVR 2 games which require the headset, and games that are streamed through PlayStation Plus Premium's cloud streaming are not supported. So what they're saying here is this thing's only designed to remote play games that are installed on your PS5 that use the DualSense controller. So if you need the VR headset, won't work. If it needs to be streamed through PlayStation Plus Premium, that doesn't work either. Now, there's theories that eventually they'll turn that on. I've continued to say this thing is being built to remote into a PlayStation 5 and operate it, which is essentially what you're doing when you do cloud gaming. So to me, this is maybe phase one, step one, and they'll turn that on later, maybe in a firmware update or an update to device, or maybe they have a more expensive device planned that'll be OLED, that'll feature cloud, and this is just sort of the entrance cost. I don't know. I think that might get a little long in the tooth with people. Like, well, I bought a $200 device for remote play, and now you're selling a cloud device? Like, what's the difference? In my mind, it would make more sense to just update the actual PlayStation Portal to be able to do cloud later. The reason I don't think they want to do that right away is this is meant to be seen as an accessory to the PS5. They're trying to hit really high saturation of PS5 this year, as well as likely next year, because we do know the PS5 Pro is likely to be announced middle of next year, and they really want to maximize PS5 saturation. Well, you're going to work against PS5 saturation if you start giving people a reason to not buy a PS5. You want to see this as like additive to the PS5s that are out there. Now, they go on to talk about the headphones and some other things. I'm not going to talk about that. That's not important necessarily. That's not directly relevant to this device. But they go on to talk about PlayStation Link, and this is tied to things that CNET said, and it's not something that the blog focuses on, but I want to look at that and go into detail with you about how PlayStation Link works, because it is a little confusing, because CNET is saying things that this blog is not, which is going to lead some people to, I think, some confusion. It says here that PlayStation Link is PlayStation's new wireless audio technology. Pulse Elite and Pulse Explorer, the two headphones, Bluetooth and the over-the-ear, connect directly with PlayStation Portal by leveraging this new wireless audio technology, PlayStation Link. This innovation delivers low latency, lossless audio, and easy switching between multiple PlayStation Link hosts, such as PS5 with the USB adapter and the PlayStation Portal. So you can basically connect these Bluetooth devices, and it's going to use PlayStation Link to give you a perfect, wireless audio, lossless, no latency situation. So they go on to talk about how it works. You have to have this USB adapter, right? When you're using the Pulse Elite and the Pulse Explorer with the PS5, the USB adapter that's included with each headset and earbuds is required for PlayStation Link. The PlayStation Link USB adapter will also be sold separately as a standalone item and can be used on PC and Mac, so players can connect Pulse Elite and Pulse Explorer to experience the same lossless and low latency audio. So if you really like these headphones and you want to use them on other devices that have USB, you can. Okay, so that USB adapter is basically like a dongle that allows these devices to connect. And this is where it gets confusing, because in the CNET hands-on video, they said the following about PlayStation Link. They described it. They were told it is new wireless connectivity function for all three devices, and it was described as remote play turned up to 11. And it says, while you can already pair a DualSense to a PC on your phone and play your PS5 that way, Link allows PlayStation to optimize the connection since they control the hardware on both ends. It isn't a separate user experience requiring you to use an app and waiting for the connection. The portal turns on and immediately is connected and ready to go. So it sounds to me like there's two ways to connect to your PS5 with the PS5 portal. The first that they're describing that they experienced for their video is with PlayStation Link. It's connecting almost like they describe in the CNET blog. It's kind of similar to a wireless mouse. You're wirelessly connecting to the PS5, okay? The blog couched this as audio technology, but in the CNET blog post, they said that the same way wireless headsets, mice, and keyboards do something via a 2.4 gigahertz dongle. So they're saying that's how PlayStation Link works, and they're describing the PlayStation Portal as using that. And then it seems tied to latency. Now, I'm not sure why the video's touching on that and their blog's touching on that, but PlayStation doesn't seem to touch on that. He said, quote, I noticed no lag whatsoever when playing Returnal, a game requiring faster inputs and reflexes, along with other titles I demoed, such as Astro's Playroom and God of War Ragnarok. Now, he did add a caveat. He said, take this with a grain of salt, however. I was in a very manicured demo and sitting only a few feet away from the PS5. So, essentially, he got to try the fastest way to do this. You're using PlayStation Link. You're within proximity of your PS5. Maybe you don't have access to the TV, but you want to play. Maybe you're in your bedroom. Maybe you're laying down. It's the end of the day. You want to crank out a couple rounds or games or whatever of something. And, maybe the kiddos are having a movie night. No problem. You can remote in, and if you're close enough, it's going to use Link. Now, it's couched against the fact that you can connect via Wi-Fi. So he continues in the video and said, the rep did mention that Portal can connect to Wi-Fi, so playing in a different room further away from your PS5 is definitely an option. Do you see the dividing line here? It's real subtle. Like, if you don't pay attention, you might not catch it, and it seems like, oh, this guy played on a PlayStation Portal and he had no latency. Well, it sounds like he was using Link when he was in the room, which is more of like a wireless connection to the device, because you're right there and you're controlling the device directly. That's how he described it, is like the actual PlayStation Portal is connecting and controlling the PS5 directly. And he goes on to say this. In fact, just like Remote Play now, you can connect your PS5 to the Portal and stream games from networks outside your home, but your Wi-Fi and connection strength will become a limiting factor. That's a real key point that everybody keeps getting wrong. They're like, why would I do this? I'm going to play remotely in my house? No. You can play from anywhere as long as you have good internet speed. They said minimum required speeds like 5 meg down, but they recommend at least 15. The average Wi-Fi connection you're going to get is clearly going to be faster than that, especially if you're at like a friend's house or a hotel with decent Wi-Fi, especially if you go overseas where there's more of a, wireless infrastructure where everywhere you go there's internet cafes, there's Wi-Fi on the trams. Those tend to be faster than what we typically have sometimes here in the West. But when I take a trip to Ohio, and, I connect to my brother's Wi-Fi, it's fast. And I'm looking forward to testing this out in those types of environments. Like leave one PlayStation at home, plugged in, ready to go, internet, just make sure it's in standby and see how it's going to go. Now, CNET said they're going to test that. They're going to test streaming. They'll do a full review. So they have not yet tested the streaming. They only did like local PlayStation Link remote play. So the concern would be, well, once you're on Wi-Fi, it might not be as good. I've had some people tell me that the latency and response time of PlayStation Remote Play is really good, and that's on a device that's using an application. One of the advantages of the Portal is that there's no app, there's no operating system, nothing else is running. It's literally just immediately connecting to the PlayStation 5 over the internet or via PlayStation Link. So I'm looking forward to CNET's full review. I think that the price point will be very convincing here. There's a lot of talk about this seems like a dumb idea, no one's going to buy this. I think PlayStation's very confident in their accessory attach rate. The DualSense Edge and the headphones have done very well. PSVR 2 has done very well, despite believing like false headlines and bad takes from people that don't know what they're talking about. All signs point to their accessories doing very well in their own webcast, and especially once the sales reports came out. These devices have done very well, and they seem to be continuing to invest in sort of feeling like the Apple of the gaming world. You got to buy all their proprietary devices, and the people that do tend to continue to buy more, and they just hit 40 million PlayStation 5s in circulation. Given that reality, that's a large group of people to sell this device to at $199. Like that, they think that's such a great and convincing and winsome price point for something that would allow you to play your PlayStation 5 anywhere in the home, especially if you're within connectivity range of the PlayStation 5 Link technology or the PlayStation Link technology. And then when you're out and about, right, if you're playing less demanding games like Returnal, maybe something a little bit more simplistic, a little bit more casual with these live service games coming out like Helldivers and others, you can kind of grind some of your dailies or whatever it is that you're working on and do that at your workplace on lunch break. Hop on the Wi-Fi and you'll be able to play. That's, I think, going to be the true test and the true breaking point for people is how's the latency when I'm streaming and not just local using Link and I'm in proximity with my PS5. The other question is, do they ever add cloud gaming to it, the cloud technology? I would think that's going to come at a later time. That's been my continued theory. Get this out as an additive accessory to PS5, continue to help foster that PlayStation 5 saturation, and then later on down the line, once they launch the PS5 Pro, I could see them turning on cloud for the PlayStation Portal, because at that point, the PlayStation 5 saturation will basically sell itself, because it'll be at a reduced price once the PlayStation 5 Pro is out. And being at a reduced price, they could even sell it bundled with PlayStation Portals, and then PlayStation Portal offering cloud gaming would not be sort of antithetical or working against the sales of the PS5. Well, if I can play all the PlayStation 5 games for a $200 cloud device, I'll just do that. We know there's people that like cloud gaming. Many people are singing the praises of NVIDIA's cloud service, saying it's just amazing. I continue to think it's just going to take time for those things to get traction with people. But when you already have a consumer base that loves to spend money in your ecosystem, I think PlayStation's making a smart play here. Would love to know what you think. Leave a comment below. Is this thing DOA like some are saying? Is this a day one pickup for you at $199? These videos typically roll over into a members-only debrief. That's something that is there for members. So if you want to become a member, $5, hit join. You can be there for all of my members' content throughout the month. If you're not going to do a membership, great way to get a gifted membership is to become a subscriber and hit like. So do that. Get subscribed. You'll be here for the live shows. Hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next video.